Every gambler who steps into a casino must be brutally honest about one thing. You are never gambling against luck, nor are you competing with a specific dealer or the house. Your true opponent is the lineup of mathematical titans standing behind the casino: Jacob Bernoulli, who discovered the law of large numbers; Pierre-Simon Laplace, who laid the foundations of probability theory; the prince of mathematicians Carl Friedrich Gauss, who charted the normal distribution curve; John Nash, the pioneer of game theory; and, of course, the ultimate boss, John Kelly. Now, ask yourself honestly, in a duel of such intellectual disparity, what makes you think you can win? The first trap, the gentle probability, and the merciless handle. Let's start with what seems to be the fairest and simplest game: the coin toss. Imagine you walk up to a table where the rules are crystal clear. The dealer flips a coin, and you bet on heads or tails. If you guess right, the house pays you double your bet. If you're wrong, you lose your stake. Intuitively, the probability of heads or tails is 50/50ths. It seems like the fairest bet you could possibly find. Feeling lucky today, you decide to try your hand. On the first bet, you put down $100. You win. The chips on the table instantly become $200. A jolt of glee runs through you. This feels like the easiest money you've ever made. Just then, the smiling dealer leans in and says in a friendly, consultative tone, "Hey buddy, congrats. You're on a roll. Look, I'm here working hard, setting up the table, flipping this coin all day. You've won, but I haven't earned a thing. How about this? From now on, every time you win, you give me a 2% cut of your winnings as a little tip, just to show some appreciation." What do you say? You do a quick mental calculation. A $2 tip on a $100 win? That's nothing. Besides, the dealer has been so polite, bringing you tea and water. This tip seems only fair. So, with a wave of your hand, you say, "No problem, take it. It's nothing." And there it is. The deal is struck. What you couldn't possibly imagine is that you have just nodded in agreement to the very demonic pact that will ultimately lead to your ruin. This seemingly insignificant, win-win 2% will become the bedrock of the casino's guaranteed profit. This tiny 2%, when faced with the law of large numbers proposed by mathematician Jacob Bernoulli, will reveal its ferocious and formidable power. We ordinary people don't need to study the complex mathematical formulas. You only need to understand its core conclusion. When a random event is repeated a sufficient number of times, the frequency of its occurrence will approach its theoretical probability. Applied to your game, this means that while you might win or lose several times in a row in the short term, as long as you play enough hands, say tens of thousands, the number of times you win will infinitely approach 50%, and the number of times you lose will also infinitely approach 50%. And in this near-perfect equilibrium, that 2% commission becomes the casino's sole and inevitable source of profit. The casino's profit is ultimately tied to just one core metric: the total amount wagered by players, known in the industry as the handle or turnover. As long as people are playing at the tables, as long as chips are constantly changing hands, the casino acts like a ceaseless pump, steadily siphoning that 2% profit into its coffers. Couldn't care less whether you win or lose a particular hand. It only cares about how long you play and how much you bet. This is why casinos do everything in their power to make you stay a little longer. Complimentary luxury suites, exquisite dining, attentive service, captivating shows. All of this isn't because the owner is a philanthropist. It's to maximize your time on device. The longer you stay, the more hands you play, the more powerfully the law of large numbers asserts itself, and the more certainly the money in your pocket flows into the casino's vault. So, never think you're the chosen one who can defy the odds. What you call winning is merely a result of not having gambled enough times to fall into the inevitable outcome dictated by the law of large numbers. The old saying, 9 out of 10 bets are losses, is backed by this cold, ruthless mathematical law. The second iron wall, the gambler's ruin, and the crushing force of capital. All right, let's loosen the conditions a bit. Suppose you find an ideal casino that, out of sheer kindness, takes no commission. The rules are absolutely fair. A coin toss is a strict 50-50 probability. In this scenario, do you have a chance to win? The answer is still no, because you will face an even more insurmountable obstacle: the gambler's ruin. This principle has many real-world applications, such as the phenomenon of surname extinction or the mitochondrial Eve hypothesis in biology. In mathematical terms, it reveals a brutal truth. In a fair game between players with unequal capital, the player with less capital has a far higher probability of going bankrupt. Let's use a simple example to illustrate this. Scenario 1. You and I are betting against each other with fair rules. We have the same amount of capital, say $500 each. In this game, the probability of me bankrupting you is 50%, and the probability of you bankrupting me is also 50%. It's an even match. Scenario 2. The rules are the same, but the capital has changed. You have $500, while I, representing the casino, have $500,000. Now, what do you think your chances are of bankrupting me? Mathematicians, using Gaussian probability and Taylor series, have already calculated the answer. Your probability of winning all my money is so low it's practically negligible. Meanwhile, the probability of me winning your meager $500 is infinitely close to 100%. Now, let's scale this up to a real casino. You, an average gambler, might have a net worth of a few $100,000, a few million, or even tens of millions. But compared to the behemoth that is the casino, your capital is practically zero. The casino, on the other hand, possesses what is theoretically infinite wealth. Your wins can't bankrupt it, but it can easily absorb all of your limited capital. In the eyes of a casino owner, guests walking through the door transition between only two states, currently poor or soon to be poor. No matter how much money you walk in with today, as long as you stay hooked, your final destination is already set. This infinite wealth principle also perfectly explains why casinos set a maximum bet limit. Many gamblers naively believe this is an act of kindness from the owner, a safety rail, to prevent them from losing too much in a single bet and facing financial ruin. Wake up. This so-called safety rail has never been for the gambler's protection. It's for the casinos. The owners must account for an extreme scenario. What if, one day, a mega-billionaire like Bill Gates or a Middle Eastern oil tycoon walks in, not for entertainment but to prove a point, and wants to throw down tens of billions of dollars at once? If there were no limit, and luck wasn't on the casino's side, a single win could force it into bankruptcy. Therefore, the maximum bet limit is a safety barrier the casino sets for itself, based on its own financial capacity and risk tolerance. It ensures that the gambler's ruin principle only ever applies to the patrons and never backfires on the house. You see, every minute detail of the casino's rules is steeped in extreme rationality and risk aversion. The ultimate weapon, the Kelly criterion. The law of large numbers and the gambler's ruin are just the macroeconomic foundations of a casino's profitability. The micro-operational core that ensures the house stands invincible in every single betting decision is a mathematical model derived from information science, hailed on Wall Street as the holy grail of money management, the Kelly criterion. If you found the previous concepts easy to grasp, we are now about to touch the deepest secret within the casino's black box. In the world of high-stakes gamblers and elite investors, the Kelly criterion is legendary. Let's use an example to unveil its mystery. Suppose there's a betting game. You bet on a coin toss. If it's heads, you win $2. If it's tails, you lose $1. This is a classic positive expected value bet because the potential gain is greater than the potential loss. Playing this long-term is advantageous to you. Now, you have a total capital of $100, and you can bet any amount on each toss. Faced with this golden opportunity, how would you bet? The risk taker, go big or go home. You might think, since I have an edge, I'll go all in, betting the entire $100 at once. If Lady Luck smiles and the coin lands on heads, your assets instantly double to $200. A story worth bragging about for years. But what if it's tails? You lose everything in an instant with no chance to recover. In Las Vegas, stories of going from hero to zero overnight are a daily occurrence. B. The conservative, better safe than sorry. You might decide to be cautious and bet only $1 each time. Heads you win $2, tails you lose $1. After 20 flips, you might have a small profit, but then you see the person at the next table, facing the same opportunity, bet $10 and win $20 in a single go. You, on the other hand, only win $2 per successful bet and would need 10 wins to make $20. You're instantly filled with regret, feeling like you've missed out on a fortune. Betting $100 is too risky. Betting $1 is too inefficient. So, what is the ideal percentage of your total capital to wager to maximize long-term gains while keeping risk under control? This question has plagued countless gamblers and investors. In 1956, John Kelly provided a groundbreaking optimal solution. This is the Kelly criterion in all its glory. F asterisk operator equals BBP minus Q, where F asterisk operator equals the optimal fraction of your capital to bet. P equals the probability of winning, in our example, heads. So P equals 0.5. Q equals the probability of losing, which is 1 minus P, tails. So Q equals 0.5. B equals the odds, expressed as the net winnings divided by the amount staked. In this case, you win $2 for every $1 risked. So B equals 2/1 equals 2. The numerator, BP minus Q, is known in mathematics as the expectancy. Only a game with a positive expectancy is worth playing. Now, let's plug the numbers from our example into the Kelly formula. F asterisk operator equals 2 by 0.5, minus 0.5 equals 21, minus 0.5 equals 0.25. The answer is 25%. The Kelly criterion tells you with precision. In this situation, the optimal strategy is to bet 25% of your current total capital each time. This is how you strike the perfect balance between risk and reward, allowing your wealth to grow at the fastest possible exponential rate. Now, switch your perspective to the casino. The casino's managers and actuaries have precisely these kinds of mathematical principles in mind when they design every game and set every payout. They know exactly what their edge is in each game and how to manage their vast capital to mitigate risk. And the average gambler? At the moment of placing a bet, what's on their mind? Besides prayers to gods of fortune and vague notions of streaks or feel, they have no idea about the profound mathematical principles hidden underneath. So, even if you are blessed by a deity with a short-lived streak of good luck, you can never defeat the cold, emotionless Kelly criterion that looms like a specter over the entire casino floor. The only rule: when expectancy is negative, the optimal bet is 0. The Kelly criterion doesn't just tell us how to bet. It offers a more fundamental and disruptive revelation. According to the formula F asterisk operator sad face BP minus Q / B, what happens if the expectancy in the numerator, BP minus Q, is negative or 0? The calculated value of F asterisk operator will be negative or 0. This means that in such a game, the most rational amount to bet is 0. In other words, if a game has a negative expected value for you, meaning you have no mathematical edge, you should not participate at all. Placing any bet is irrational. A negative bet would imply you should be the one acting as the house, taking others' bets. And in this world, every single game offered in a commercial casino, be it roulette, baccarat, sic bow, or slot machines, is, almost without exception, designed to have a negative expected value for the gambler. Roulette. An American roulette will has 38 pockets, 1 to 36, 0, and 00. The probability of hitting a single number is 1/38. But if you win, the casino only pays you 35 to 1, not the fair 37 to 1. Those little green pockets, the 0 and 2000, are the house's profit margin, ensuring that BP minus Q is always negative for you. Baccarat. The rules seem complex, but actuarial analysis shows that whether you bet on the banker or player, the house has an edge of over 1%. The 5% commission taken on winning banker bets is a blatant guarantee of the casino's positive return. Slot machines. Every slot machine has a programmed return to player, RTP, typically between 90% and 97%. This means for every $100 you put in over the long run, the machine is designed to pay back only $90 to $97. The remaining 3% to 10% is the casino's steady profit. This unfairness isn't achieved by the house cheating you during the game. On the contrary, modern casinos are paragons of transparency. They lay out all the rules and payouts clearly for everyone to see. Their advantage relies on this systemic mathematical edge that cannot be overcome by luck. In a sense, a casino is one of the most honest places you can find. If it weren't, with the number of volatile characters walking in and out daily, a figurehead like Stanley Ho would have needed 9 lives to survive. To be sure, there have been a handful of gods of gambling who beat the casino with mathematics, like the mathematician Edward O. Thorpe, who used his own information theory to count cards in Blackjack. He and his team, through incredibly complex calculations, managed to flip the odds in their favor to just over 50%, achieving a slight positive expectancy. Then, by strictly applying the Kelly criterion to manage their bets, they won millions from Las Vegas and forced casinos to change the rules of the game. But pay attention to the key elements of that story. They were top-tier mathematicians, they turned the casino into their personal mathematics laboratory, and they did it before the loopholes in the rules were discovered. And you, with your hazy memories of sleeping through math class, whose only strategy after a loss is to double down to chase it back, and whose grasp of the multiplication table might be shaky at best, do you really think you can replicate Thorpe's legend? Therefore, for 99.99% of ordinary people, the ultimate conclusion from the Kelly criterion is singular. 1. When expectancy, BP minus Q, is positive, bet according to the Kelly formula. This is the scientific method to make money fastest with the least risk. But you will never find such a game in a casino. 2. When expectancy, BP minus Q, is 0, this is a fair game. You neither win nor lose. It's not worth your time, and you should bet nothing. 3. When expectancy, BP minus Q, is negative. This describes every game in the casino. You are at a mathematical disadvantage and should bet absolutely nothing. No one can reason with a degenerate gambler, for their affliction has transcended the realm of logic and become a malady of personality and spirit. But if you, right now, still possess a shred of clarity and reason, please stop clinging to ethereal notions of luck, feel, and other superstitions. Please remember what you are up against. When it comes to rationality, no one is more rational than the casino owner and their team of actuaries. When it comes to mathematics, no one is more proficient than the experts the casino has on its payroll. When it comes to capital, no one in the world has a bigger bankroll than the casino. And when it comes to the rules, all of them were designed by these top experts for their own benefit. Your hopes might rest on ancestral blessings. There's rest on Gauss, Kelly, and Bernoulli, the titans of human intellect. This war is over before it begins. The outcome is determined the moment you step through the casino doors. How could you possibly win? The only way to win this war is to never fight it.